Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and we've got two huge developments coming out of D.C. We got a number of establishment RINOs announcing their retirements, all the while their efforts at ousting George Santos have officially imploded. And with the Gates 8 taking out McCarthy and voting in MAGA Mike Johnson as Speaker, we really do appear to be seeing a full takeover of the GOP by America First patriots. Going to absolutely love this. And you're also going to love clicking on that link below and trying out the amazing Old Country soap made on a farm in South Dakota using traditional techniques that use only locally sourced special ingredients without the harsh chemicals that can dry out your hair and skin. Every bar includes pure and unfiltered bentonite clay that works wonders, helping to soothe and relieve dry and sensitive skin. It's known for its healing properties that help with psoriasis and eczema. It also pulls dirt and oil from pores, helping to clean up acne. I mean, it's amazing stuff. It works great for hair. You can use it to shave. It's safe for your pets. And of course, to top it all off, it's made right here in the USA. Use promo code Turley for an exclusive 20% discount off your order, and every order will include an extra gift. Just pay the shipping. It's more than worth it. So go ahead, reward yourself today with this amazing Patriot product. You'll not be disappointed. Click on that link below right now. The Swamp 25, as they're being called, the 25 Republicans who voted against Jim Jordan for Speaker, have begun to dwindle. Two more RINOs are officially gone. The rabidly anti-Trump Ken Buck of Colorado. He's announced he won't be seeking re-election. And Texas Republican Kay Granger, who also repeatedly blocked Jim Jordan, she too is gone as well. They both knew they were going to get Cheneyed in their respective primaries. They were going to be humiliated by whoever their primary challengers were. And so they're both riding off into the proverbial sunset. And then, of course, you had the ridiculous efforts yesterday by some pathetic House Republicans to try to vote out New York Republican George Santos. 20 Republicans tried to oust one of our own, but alas, it all once again blew up in their faces. They once again failed, just like they failed in their efforts to impose the ultra-establishment Tom Emmer as Speaker on us. Emmer, as I'm sure you all know by now, is radically anti-Trump. He's rabidly anti-America First. He basically makes Kevin McCarthy look like Pat Buchanan. I mean, he would have been an absolute disaster if he were elected Speaker, especially for 2024, because every time Trump would say something on the campaign trail, the woke leftists and the legacy media would have run up to Emmer and asked for a comment. And they would have winked at each other, you know, as Emmer turned around and said, well, I'm once again going to have to distance myself from Trump. Trump does not represent the values of our Republican Party, right? Right? Just like Eddie Munster did, right? Paul Eddie Munster Ryan back in 2016. He did that over and over. Trump's positions are not the positions of the Republican Party. His values are not our values, right? So Trump would have had to run against both Biden and the Republican leadership in the House were Emmer to have been successful. And he would have beaten them both, but it would have just made things that much harder. But nevertheless, ever since J6, establishment RINOs have desperately been trying to take back control of the Republican Party. But like with Wile E. Coyote, every time they think they've got it, it blows up in their faces. And we've been seeing this time and time again. It's been absolutely glorious. Of course, you had the utterly embarrassing, cringeworthy efforts by Liz Cheney to try to steal the party away from the MAGA base. And we saw how those pathetic efforts ultimately worked out, didn't we? Cheney was crushed by Harriet Hageman, the Trump-endorsed primary challenger. Hageman won the Republican primary in Wyoming with nearly 70% of the vote, 66% to Cheney's 28%. I mean, it was utterly humiliating. Cheney was stopped. She was crushed. She was pulverized. She was utterly eviscerated. And it was a total repudiation of the single most odious, tone-deaf, self-righteous, virtue-signaling Republican in the nation, and of RINOs in general. Now, with Cheney's defeat, 9 out of the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach President Trump were wiped away. Cheney was the fourth pro-impeachment House Republican to get primaried out. The other 6, like crying Adam Kinzinger, were just too cowardly to face re-election and decided to retire. So you would think that RINOs learned their lesson. But alas, despite Cheney's humiliation, RINOs continued in their efforts to disparage President Trump and the MAGA movement and take control of the party back. The new leader that emerged in that effort was, of course, none other than Mitt Romney. And when he had to finally face his own Utah voters, this is the reception he got.
So what do you think about President Biden's first 100 days? Now, you know me as a person who says what he thinks, and I don't hide the fact that I wasn't a fan of our last president's character issues. And I'm also no fan... Aren't you embarrassed?
Yeah, what a joke. I mean, I think the only person embarrassed there is obviously Romney. But as it turns out, he got the message loud and clear. He has since announced that he, too, will not be seeking re-election in 2024. And then even at the state level, yet the RINO wing of the party tried to reassert their dominance. Just like what we saw, many of you saw back in May, Attorney General Paxton, Ken Paxton, who's known as the Texas Trump, is the single best attorney general in the nation. He was actually impeached by the Bush wing of the Republicans in the Texas House in one of the most impulsive, inexplicable impeachments imaginable. There was no investigation. There was no prerequisite impeachment inquiry. It was an utterly shock impeachment that took just 2 days to pass, with enough Republicans voting with Texas Democrats to put their pro-Trump attorney general on trial in the Senate for supposed bribery and fraud and political retribution, blah, blah, blah. It just so happens that these charges were brought against Paxton just after he started investigating, well, what do you know? The FBI. For what do you know? Corruption. And as you may have guessed, the case against Paxton was an absolute farce. It was beyond a joke. They literally had no case. There was no evidence whatsoever of any wrongdoing on his part. None. Zippo. That impeachment by the Texas House over that Memorial Day weekend was based entirely on hearsay and innuendo. There wasn't a shred of actual evidence of any crime committed whatsoever by Ken Paxton. And his attorneys during the Senate trial, they put on a masterclass of deconstructing fake charges devoid of any semblance of evidence. And in the end, all but 2 Texas Senate Republicans voted to acquit Paxton on all 16 sham charges. The Bush wing of the Republican Party appears to have finally been defeated in Texas. And as it turns out, in D.C. as well. When all is said and done, the era of the RINO Republican has indeed come and gone. I think what we have to put in perspective here is that Trumpism has crushed all the major political dynasties in the nation. We defeated the Clinton dynasty, the McCain dynasty, the Bush dynasty, and the Cheney dynasty. Ultra MAGA forces have brought down all 4 of the most powerful neoliberal, neocon globalist forces in the nation. What's happening right before our very eyes is nothing less than a monumental shift for the GOP, which has officially turned its back on the aristocratic, cosmopolitan, liberal republicanism of the permanent political class and has officially become a thoroughly anti-globalist, pro-nationalist, pro-populist working class party. It's been an absolutely astonishing and decisive transformation. The Karl Rove wing of the party is officially dead, and more of these RINO establishment holdouts are calling it quits. By 2024, it really looks like the MAGA takeover of the GOP will finally be complete. Are you ready to join the resistance? Because I'm leading a group of dedicated, courageous patriots who can lead a spearhead into the heart of the secular globalist establishment. We punished Bud Light and Target, driven CNN and the legacy media to near bankruptcy, forced BlackRock to backtrack on ESG, and now we're seeing our conservative-dominated Supreme Court ending affirmative action and protecting religious liberty. In my Insiders Club, I show you concrete steps to take locally and online that will only keep this mass uprising going until the battle is won. Don't wait. Click the link in my description below and join my Courageous Patriots Insiders Club today.